Okay, okay, okay. Let me flip this around. Hello, everybody. This is the most informally formal start to the internship game series I've ever made, I think. And yeah, I guess let's get on with it. So the internship game, this is not balancing very well right now. The internship game in its original form was a combination of like a bunch of things, but the two main excuses I kind of gave for having it was, one, it helped me document the internship journey. So it meant that I haven't actually gone back yet, to be fair. I've watched Internship Game Season 2, I think, briefly once, to see like I was in a Newport accommodation. It was funny to see where I've come since then. But primarily it's like, one is a documenting thing, so I can go back and see like where I've come from, how far I've gone in a career journey. Two, to also, as well as documenting it to look back, also document it in real time. So it's like I need to actually do something, let me actually apply to things to make it interesting. And if I don't have, I've still applied stuff anyways, but it kind of helps having that external motivation, extrinsic. So it's like, now I've actually got to apply and do this research and learn this for the content to be good. But lastly, it was like a vessel of like communicating what the life of a student was like. I think a lot of people kind of go into uni and they don't really think about their careers until their fourth year or final year, third year for some people, most people I assume. And that's kind of when they get there, pull their socks up and start applying. I wanted to get it out the way early and to kind of show that it's not really that difficult. And if you can get a spring week, you can convert that into an insight week, or whatever it's called in different sectors, work experience, whatever. You can generally convert that, or at least get some good, useful, beneficial skills to get an internship later in your second year. And if you do very, very well in the internship, you can either convert that or again have like good experience, because something on your CV to get the grad scheme or the proper analyst job in your final year. That's me getting emailed about missing a lecture. That was Target Jobs telling me there's a new placement opening at National Grid. So I'm doing pretty well. That might even be a teachable moment, because I think some people think, how do you learn about jobs, where do jobs come from? Once you sign up for one and you apply for wherever, from Bright Network, Target Jobs, Grad UK, I think it's called, Debut Jobs. You apply for one thing and they add you to the mailing list. And now every single time when there's a new opportunity for the same companies or similar companies in the same industries, LinkedIn do it as well, Google Jobs do it as well. Suddenly you just hear about all this new stuff. Most of the emails aren't relevant, but if you're going to get irrelevant emails anyways, you may as well get something that actually push you further and benefit you in your career. So that's a pro tip that came out of nowhere. I think I will also give like more conclusive videos. So the beginning of part 2 is coming out before part 1 is ended. I still have some stuff to show you guys from the internship that I did last year. Welcome to Internship Game 3 part 2. Because man's still in third year out here. To get you guys up to speed, I of course did an internship at a company called MJ Hudson. That was great. I was an ESG consultant. Did a lot of fun things. I also had another internship at Danes as a patent attorney, or like a trainee, I suppose. I didn't really, I'm not a trainee. I'm not an attorney. That's like 5 years of experience to get to that title. And the same with ESG consulting. You're not really a consultant until you're like 3, 4, 5 years into the game, anyways. So the titles kind of are what they are. I'm going to talk about that at length in their own videos. I think that should be cool content to see eventually. But as of right now, I'm just a dude. I'm a dude. I did that over summer, and now that I'm finding myself having to redo the year with far less content, I'm in a position where, just like everyone else in the UK, it's cost of living crisis. We got bills to pay, we got to eat, rent's due. So I'm not even looking for internships anymore. I'm looking for part-time work at university. What's interesting is that I've done like casual roles in the past. I'm going to show you guys what's on my screen, my retail CV in a minute. But I've done casual work in the past, which is fun, and it's nice to be like on campus having like a BME Success Advocate role, or I'm responsible for like making a community for BAME students on campus, and things like that are more casual. But you only really get 1, 2, 3, 4 hours a week. That's not helping you pay the bills. And when you only have 3, 4, 5 contact hours a week, you're better off filling that time with something more valuable, more tangible. On the one hand, it's going to be like content. You're going to see more content this year compared to last year for sure. But this doesn't this doesn't pay bills. So let's get a real job right off the bat. Again, I'm going to show you what I've got, and then I'll show you what I had to start with, my latest, but like internship, my like corporate CV, and then on the side here will be my like the retail CV. There aren't too many huge changes. First of all, I took off like SEO and Upreach associate because that's not really relevant when you're applying to McDonald's. They don't really care about about your Upreach or your LinkedIn really. So I just left my name, email, number, the typical stuff. My LinkedIn is there because it depends. I don't know. I might send this off to companies that you have to apply for online instead of having to hand in person. But I got rid of the Upreach and the SEO stuff because it's not really relevant. My degree and stuff I kind of left on there because education's important. But where things get real interesting is this middle part of work history and experiences, because none of my experiences are relevant in retail anymore. I have an older CV, so I may or may not show you guys, but my older CV had, actually in season 2 of internship game, I showed you the progression of my CVs over time. And a lot of the roles I've had in the past would be like night assistant at Caviar House. Well, it was called Not Always Caviar because it's like anyways, I was a New Look once upon a time, I was a Domino's once upon a time, Harrow Boys School, I was like a groundsman. I used to referee a lot, and refereeing used to be on my CV. I was a referee at Brentford Academy. Shout out to Ivan Toney. Never met, but I was around. And you were around, so tell me something. So the primary aim of what I'm doing today is taking out all of the, even though saying I did an internship as a consultant is really cool, it's really impressive. I think if you're applying to the McDonald's, the Audis, Morrisons, wherever local stores are around you, like a mini golf place, go-karting, they don't really care about your Excel, they care about how you work with customers. And sure, these are like transferable skills, I can make it sound a certain way. But I think what's most important is like, as in my internship, I mostly liaised with seniors in the business, or like people, again, within the business, or clients, not really customers. And again, they are kind of transferable, but it doesn't really, promote the same message. Especially when I do have older, but more relevant experience to show. I'm not really sure what the rule of thumb is, so I imagine this is going to be, it's going to evolve over time. Maybe I shouldn't even call this the internship game. It should be the internship game's like the main series. This is like the the part-time season, the part-time arc. But maybe I'll adapt this over time if I expect to get a job straight away. Not literally like send it off and the first place I go to says here, but I'm not gonna spend weeks and weeks changing this around. I'm hoping that in the first round of send-offs I'll get at least one. At this point, it doesn't really matter where. I'm happy to work as hard as possible. I just need to make these bills for the end of the month. But you can see from my older CV, this is obviously, the format is way different. There's, crappy margins. Put educate, it wasn't in reverse chronological order, it was just in whatever order I wanted. But you can see the wording I've used here for the older work history. I kind of just copied it across and like reworded it, made it more interesting. But you can see how far along I've come in the in the CV making journey. In a nutshell, I think using numbers or like some sort of scale to say like I did this as measured by, I achieved this thing as measured by this, and by doing that, that kind of helps a lot. I think Google called it the XYZ method. Like I achieved X by doing Y as measured by Z. In my case, I'm kind of using the same ideology, but with more numbers. It's not just saying like I stacked shelves as measured by full shelves by stacking shelves. Like you put some numbers to it, make it sound more, easier to understand, to idealize or to conceptualize. But yeah, this isn't super interesting. In a nutshell, this isn't going to be relevant for people applying for internships, but I do think it's important to understand how work experience, is valuable, and two, most importantly, how transferable skills can be, or how they kind of are. I think from one perspective is, again, working with clients versus customers, or internal versus external, working with businesses or working with customers, consumers, whatever. So there's always some nuance to it depending on the industry you're in, the roles you do. But you're almost always doing the same type of stuff. You're always almost trying to sell something to someone, whether it's a product or service, selling to a business or a person, or a customer or a client, wherever it may be. There's always some transferable element, and also appreciating that this may not be the most, my latest, newest experience, but what's relevant. What do I have that showcases the skills that I need to get this job? People always say to have like different CVs for every role. I don't think you need to have it for literally every role, but for every sector at least, or every type of role is important. And that's not a skill to be understated, because again, I don't think McDonald's are going to care that I can use Excel. That's not going to help me flip any burgers quicker. So understanding what you need and how to show that you have those skills or similar is very important. So that's the end of intro. This is more like a promotional video for part 2 season 3, because I still got to wrap up some season 3 content. But internship game season 3, we're still going strong. Shout out to the part-time arc. Season 4 hopefully won't even be about internships at all. I'm hoping it'll just be pure grad scheme, or if I get something this year, I won't even need to do internship game part 3. Maybe that might be more. I'll figure it out when I get to next year. If I get to next year, I just write it down. But yeah, like, subscribe, get your CVs running. RIP FTX, and I'll see you guys tomorrow, or not.